This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop the clock. The legislation.
Time
Time
belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump.
Hi peeps, Adam arrived. All right, so what just happened to Donald Trump's inner circle? Pam Bondi, his own attorney general, got caught red-handed lying under oath in federal court, and Judge Tanya Chutkan is now clearing the path to send her straight to prison.
Some lawmakers are accusing Attorney General Pam Bondi of spying on their search history within the unredacted Epstein files. This comes after Bondi was seen at a congressional committee hearing earlier this week, holding what appeared to be a list of files searched by Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal.
We know that the week began with the Epstein files being an absolute hot mess, and the week is ending with the Epstein files being an absolute hot mess. In this incarnation of the scandal, members of Congress who've been invited to view the unredacted, unreleased files at the Department of Justice say they're being tracked. They're being monitored, and their searches inside those files are being chronicled and cataloged by the Trump administration. They don't like that. That is a overstepping, they say, an encroachment on their powers, on their autonomy, and they want the administration to stop.
The explosive court filings from October 2024 reveal that Bondi didn't just make innocent mistakes or misremember details. She committed perjury and obstruction of justice while trying to cover up her role in Trump's election interference schemes. This isn't another political scandal you can ignore. This is the sitting Attorney General of the United States facing criminal prosecution for lying to protect Trump. And the judge is making it crystal clear that no one, not even the nation's top law enforcement official, is above the law.
No one is above the law. And in America, we have to stand on the rule of law, irrespective of politics. Secondly, the handling of classified materials is a very serious matter in this nation. My years as vice president, my years serving on the International Relations Committee in the House of Representatives. It's important that we protect the nation's secrets. It's one of the reasons why, after the multiple disclosures at President Biden's home of classified materials that he had retained from his days as vice president and as president, that we thought it was appropriate for us to have our records examined. And we found that there was a small number of classified materials that had been stored inadvertently with our materials as well. We fully cooperated with the FBI's investigation. I took full responsibility for it. I'm pleased that last week the Department of Justice determined that it was an innocent mistake. And let me be clear, it was a mistake.
What makes this absolutely devastating is that Bondi thought she could outsmart the system. She sat in that courtroom, raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth, and then proceeded to lie through her teeth about her involvement in Trump's criminal conspiracy. She denied knowing about the fake elector scheme. She claimed she had no communications with Trump's team about overturning the election. She insisted she was just doing her job as Attorney General. But prosecutors had the receipts, emails, phone records, text messages, all proving that every word out of her mouth was a calculated lie designed to obstruct justice and protect both herself and Trump from accountability. Judge Chutkan's response to these lies has been swift and brutal. In her October 2024 order, she stated explicitly that misrepresentations before this court, if proven, rise to the level of perjury and obstruction of justice and may be referred for criminal prosecution. Let that sink in. A federal judge is saying that the Attorney General of the United States committed crimes in her courtroom and should be prosecuted for it. This isn't a slap on the wrist or a stern warning. This is a federal judge clearing the path for criminal charges that could send Pam Bondi to federal prison. The evidence against Bondi is absolutely damning. Court transcripts show her categorically denying involvement in the fake elector scheme, but newly unsealed evidence reveals email threads and phone records connecting her directly to pressure campaigns in Georgia and Michigan. We're not talking about circumstantial evidence or conflicting memories here. We're talking about documented proof that Bondi was neck-deep in the conspiracy while lying about it under oath. Prosecutors have presented evidence that she knowingly made false statements under oath, creating what legal experts are calling an open and shut case for perjury charges. The panic in Bondi's camp is palpable and completely justified. Her lawyers have now admitted to what they're calling irregularities in her testimony. That's lawyer speak for, "Our client got caught lying and we're trying to minimize the damage." They're desperately seeking to withdraw her original statements, but it's too late. You can't unring that bell. You can't take back perjury after you've been caught. The fact that her own legal team is essentially admitting she lied shows just how cornered they are and how strong the evidence against her must be. What we're witnessing here is the complete collapse of the wall of lies that Trump's inner circle built to protect him. Pam Bondi wasn't just any official, she was the Attorney General, the person responsible for upholding the law, and she violated that law in the most fundamental way possible by lying under oath. This creates a cascade effect where every other Trump official who testified has to wonder if they're next, if their lies are about to be exposed, if they're about to face the same fate as Bondi. The fear spreading through Trump world right now is absolutely justified. Let's examine exactly what Bondi lied about and why these lies are so legally catastrophic for both her and Trump. According to the unsealed court documents, Bondi gave sworn testimony denying any knowledge of or participation in the fake elector scheme. She claimed under oath that she had no communications with Trump's team about election challenges beyond normal Department of Justice channels. She insisted she was operating independently as Attorney General without coordination with Trump's political operation. Every single one of these statements has now been proven false by documentary evidence that prosecutors have been sitting on, waiting for the perfect moment to spring their trap. The email evidence is particularly devastating. Prosecutors have produced email threads showing Bondi directly coordinating with Trump's campaign team about the fake elector scheme. These aren't forwarded emails or CCs that she might have missed. These are emails she wrote, responses she sent, plans she helped develop. One email chain shows her explicitly discussing how to pressure Georgia officials to accept fake electors. Another shows her strategizing about Michigan with Trump's personal lawyers. These emails directly contradict her sworn testimony and prove beyond any doubt that she committed perjury. The phone records add another layer to her criminal exposure. Prosecutors have documented dozens of calls between Bondi and key figures in Trump's conspiracy during the exact time period she claimed to have no involvement. We're talking about hour-long strategy calls with Trump's lawyers, late-night conversations with campaign officials, direct communications with people orchestrating the fake elector scheme. You don't have dozens of phone calls with conspirators if you're not part of the conspiracy. These records transform her denials from possibly mistaken recollections into deliberate, provable lies. What makes Bondi's situation even worse is that she didn't just lie once. She doubled and tripled down on her lies when given opportunities to correct her testimony. Prosecutors gave her multiple chances to clarify her statements, to correct any mistakes, to come clean about her involvement. Instead, she chose to dig deeper, to elaborate on her lies, to provide even more false testimony. This pattern of sustained deception removes any possibility of claiming confusion or faulty memory. She knew she was lying. She kept lying. And now she's facing the consequences. Judge Chutkan's handling of this perjury has been masterful and methodical. Rather than immediately referring Bondi for prosecution, she's building an airtight case that will be impossible to challenge. She's ordered a deeper investigation, which means more evidence is being gathered, more witnesses are being interviewed, and more lies are being exposed. The judge is essentially conducting a real-time demonstration of how the justice system should work, methodically, thoroughly, and without regard for the defendant's political position or power. The legal implications for Bondi personally are catastrophic. Perjury is a federal felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Obstruction of justice carries up to 20 years. And these are just the charges related to her lying. She could also face charges for her underlying participation in the election conspiracy itself. We're potentially looking at the Attorney General of the United States facing decades in federal prison. The irony of the nation's top law enforcement official becoming a federal inmate is not lost on anyone watching this unfold. But the implications go far beyond just Bondi herself. Her lies were designed to protect Trump and others involved in the conspiracy. Now that her lies have been exposed, everything she testified about becomes suspect. Every denial she made opens up new avenues of investigation. Every person she claimed not to know or communicate with becomes a potential witness against her. Her perjury hasn't just exposed her own crimes, it's potentially exposed an entire network of criminals she was trying to protect. The response from Bondi's legal team has been telling. Their admission of irregularities and attempt to withdraw her testimony shows they know she's in serious legal jeopardy. You don't try to withdraw testimony unless you know it's false and provably so. You don't admit to irregularities unless you're trying to avoid even worse consequences. This is a legal team in full damage control mode trying to salvage something from a completely untenable situation. But once you've committed perjury, there's no taking it back. The crime has already been committed. The pressure this puts on other Trump officials who testified cannot be overstated. If Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, got caught lying under oath, what about everyone else? How many other officials gave false testimony thinking they would never be caught? How many are right now frantically reviewing their testimony, comparing it to documents they know prosecutors might have, wondering if they're about to be the next one exposed? This is how criminal conspiracies unravel. One exposed lie leads to another, creating a domino effect of revelation and prosecution. The precedent being set here is absolutely crucial for the future of American democracy and the rule of law. We have a sitting attorney general caught lying under oath about her participation in an attempt to overthrow democracy, and a federal judge is making it clear that she will face criminal prosecution for it. This sends a message to every future administration that you cannot use the power of your office to commit crimes and then lie about it. The position of Attorney General comes with the responsibility to uphold the law, not break it, and certainly not to commit perjury to cover up crimes against democracy. For Trump, Bondi getting caught lying is a disaster on multiple levels. First, she was one of his most important defenders, someone who used the credibility of the AG's office to support his false claims. Now that she's been exposed as a liar, everything she said in Trump's defense becomes worthless. Second, her lies were specifically designed to protect Trump from prosecution. Now that those lies have been exposed, the protection is gone, and Trump is more vulnerable than ever. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Bondi knows everything. If she flips to avoid prison time, she could provide testimony that directly implicates Trump in crimes he's been denying. The cascade effect through Trump's administration is already beginning. Every official who worked with Bondi, everyone who participated in meetings with her, everyone who communicated with her about these schemes is now under scrutiny. Her emails and phone records don't just implicate her, they implicate everyone she was conspiring with. Prosecutors can now use her exposed lies as leverage against other officials, saying essentially, "We know Bondi was lying and we know you were working with her, so you better come clean before you end up like her." The political ramifications are equally significant. How does the Republican Party defend an attorney general who committed perjury? How do they maintain any credibility on law and order when their top law enforcement official is a criminal? How do they continue to support Trump when his hand-picked AG is facing prison for lying about his crimes? This isn't just a legal problem. It's a political catastrophe that undermines everything the party claims to stand for. The party of law and order has an attorney general who broke the law and lied about it under oath. Judge Chutkan's systematic approach to this case is worth noting. She's not rushing to judgment or making political statements. She's methodically building a case that will stand up to any appeal or challenge by ordering deeper investigation rather than immediate prosecution. She's ensuring that when charges are filed, they'll be ironclad. This is how the justice system is supposed to work, deliberately, carefully, and without regard for political pressure or public opinion. The fact that she's treating the Attorney General the same way she'd treat any other perjurer sends a powerful message about equality before the law. The specific nature of Bondi's lies makes them impossible to explain away. She didn't just forget about a meeting or misremember a date. She categorically denied involvement in schemes that she was actively participating in. She claimed not to have communications that prosecutors can prove she had. She denied knowledge of plans that she helped create. These are conscious, deliberate lies told under oath for the specific purpose of obstructing justice. There's no innocent explanation, no misunderstanding that can excuse this conduct. For Bondi personally, the options are all bad and getting worse. She can continue to fight and likely face conviction and serious prison time. She can try to cooperate, but prosecutors may not need her testimony given the documentary evidence they already have. She can hope for a presidential pardon, but that would require Trump to win and be willing to pardon someone whose crimes are so blatant. Every path forward leads through disgrace and likely imprisonment. The Attorney General, who was supposed to be the guardian of justice, has become its most prominent violator. The deterrent effect of prosecuting Bondi cannot be understated. Every future administration official will know that lying under oath has consequences even if you're the Attorney General. Every political appointee will understand that loyalty to a corrupt president doesn't protect you from prosecution for your own crimes. Every lawyer who might be tempted to lie for their client will see what happened to Bondi and think twice. This case could fundamentally change how government officials approach testimony and cooperation with investigations. What's particularly striking is how Bondi's legal training makes her perjury even more inexcusable. This isn't someone who might not understand the importance of truthful testimony. This is an experienced attorney who served as Attorney General, who knows exactly what perjury is and what the consequences are. She made a calculated decision to lie under oath, believing her position and connections would protect her. The fact that she was wrong about that calculation shows that the system, while tested, still has the capacity to hold even the powerful accountable. The timeline going forward is likely to move quickly now that Bondi's lies have been exposed. Judge Chutkan's referral for criminal prosecution could come at any moment. The DOJ will have to decide whether to prosecute their own former AG, a decision that would normally be difficult but is made easier by the overwhelming evidence. Bondi's trial would be a sensation with the Attorney General in the defendant's chair facing the very justice system she once led. The irony and the precedent would be impossible to ignore. For Trump's other allies watching this unfold, the message is clear. The lies are being exposed, the consequences are real, and no position is high enough to protect you from prosecution for perjury. Every single person who testified falsely is now wondering when their turn will come, when their lies will be exposed, when they'll face the same fate as Bondi. The fear rippling through Trump world is creating opportunities for prosecutors as people rush to correct testimony or cooperate before it's too late. The international perspective on this is also significant. The world is watching America's Attorney General face prosecution for perjury related to an attempt to overthrow democracy. This is the kind of thing we used to criticize other countries for, and now it's happening here. But the fact that our system is responding, that a judge is holding even the AG accountable, shows that American democracy, while wounded, is still capable of defending itself. The prosecution of Bondi would send a message globally that the rule of law still means something in America. As we watch this unfold, it's important to remember what's really at stake here. This isn't just about one person lying under oath. This is about whether we're going to allow government officials to commit perjury to cover up attempts to overthrow democracy. This is about whether the Attorney General, the nation's top law enforcement official, can break the very law she swore to uphold without consequence. This is about whether anyone, no matter how powerful, is truly above the law. The exposure of Bondi's lies represents a critical moment in the larger investigation of Trump's crimes. Her perjury hasn't just exposed her own criminal conduct. It's revealed the depths of corruption in Trump's administration and the lengths to which his allies went to cover up his crimes. Every lie she told was in service of protecting Trump, and now those lies are becoming evidence against both of them. The path Judge Chutkan is clearing isn't just to prison for Bondi. It's to accountability for everyone involved in the conspiracy to overthrow American democracy. This case will be studied for generations as an example of what happens when government officials believe they're above the law. Pam Bondi thought her position as Attorney General would protect her from consequences for perjury. She thought her loyalty to Trump would be rewarded with protection. She thought she could lie her way out of accountability. She was wrong on all counts. And now she's facing the very justice system she once led, not as its chief, but as a criminal defendant. The path to prison that Judge Chutkan is clearing for Bondi is a path that every corrupt official should fear, because it shows that eventually the lies catch up to you, no matter who you are.